They thought the Moongazer Serpent would fall. A supreme Nirvana void treasure was unleashed, an attack said to erase even ancient gods from existence. For a moment, everything seemed decided. But then, it didn't die. What followed wasn't a battle anymore. It was a massacre. The serpent roared, and the heavens themselves began to collapse. Even the strongest cultivators fled in terror. While Wang Lin stood in the chaos realizing one thing: this war had just awakened something far beyond control. I really love making these videos, but I need your support to keep going. Please like, share, and subscribe so I don't have to give up on this dream. The Moongazer Serpent revealed its unparalleled divine ability in the northern region for the very first time. It was born from fury, and the moment it descended, every cultivator present felt a power beyond imagination. Any who had once underestimated the Moongazer Serpent or dismissed it as a lesser threat abandoned such thoughts the instant the seal shattered. What remained was not doubt, but a shock that struck directly at the soul. At that moment, dense cracks spread rapidly across the black shell encasing the Moongazer Serpent. Countless fragments burst outward, screaming through the air in every direction. Those fragments carried terrifying force. Several cultivators failed to evade in time and were struck head-on. Blood sprayed from their mouths as their bodies collapsed instantly. Even their origin souls were unable to escape. Others were merely grazed by the edges, yet even that was enough. Their bodies were cleanly severed in half. A thick mist of blood spread through the void, forming a scene so brutal it froze the heart. Silence fell. It was as if all gazes in the surrounding heavens converged upon this single point. Then, from within the shattered shell, a roar emerged, ancient, boundless. Roar. It was a sound infinitely close to that of an ancient god. It seemed to pierce through the river of time itself, as though it had always existed. The force within that roar was immeasurable. In that instant, the finger of an ancient god shot forth. Its might could not be described. Its spectacle defied comprehension. One could only say, under that finger, the world itself would collapse. No force could withstand it. All things would be crushed into nothingness beneath its descent. The refined corpse chasing Wang Lin froze. Its mind went blank for a fleeting moment, instinctively weighing the cost of confronting that finger head-on. Boom! The ancient god's finger slammed into it. Cracking sounds rang out as the chains binding the refined corpse shattered one after another. A torrent of black blood was forced out from its back under the overwhelming pressure. Its entire body was driven backward, its purple skin peeling away instantly. In the blink of an eye, it was as though its skin had been stripped clean. Then its flesh and bones collapsed in unison. Finally, its entire body exploded. Though this sequence seemed prolonged, it had all occurred within the span of a few breaths. The ancient god finger did not pause. It pressed forward relentlessly. Wang Lin had already retreated moments earlier. His eyes shone as he watched. In his vision, it was as if an adult ancient god stood behind that finger. A thick, powerful arm drove it forward, wave after wave of unstoppable destruction. Behind it, the massive body of the Moongazer Serpent surged forth. Its countless tentacles unfurled and dense mist spread from its oval form. Its fierce eyes locked onto Wang Lin. The moment their gazes met, Wang Lin's expression changed. Those eyes were clear. Too clear. There was no trace of confusion within them. It gave him a strange feeling, as though when he looked at the serpent, it was also looking back at him. The Moongazer Serpent breaking free caused morale among the all-heaven cultivators to surge. This battle had been filled with reversals. At times, the Alliance held dominance. At others, all heaven seized the advantage. Now, with the serpent's reappearance, its pressure shook the stars themselves. The ancient god finger continued its advance at terrifying speed. Every cultivator in its path exploded before it even reached them. Wang Lin had spent his life amidst slaughter, yet the number of deaths in this war far surpassed all those he had ever caused. This was the first time he had witnessed a battle of such scale. Compared to this, the war between planet Suzaku and the Forsaken Immortal clan was insignificant. The tide had turned. The ancient god finger tore through space unstoppable. no one could slow it. It advanced directly toward the Black Fiend Devil Saint. The Devil Saint's expression changed drastically. As the finger approached, he clenched his teeth and spat out a mouthful of black mist. His hands formed seals rapidly. The mist twisted, transforming into a massive black crane. The crane held a black leaf in its beak. The moment it appeared, it released the leaf. The leaf began to grow wildly. In an instant, it expanded to over 10,000 feet, spreading outward to form a vast barrier. The ancient god finger struck it. Crackling sounds erupted. The leaf collapsed into strands of black gas. The Black Fiend Devil Saint's face turned pale. He coughed blood and staggered backward. Yet his right hand reached into the void, pulling out a strange wooden carving. It depicted a figure with arms folded, entwined by plants. The face could not be seen, it was completely obscured. Without hesitation, he hurled it forward. A black light burst forth from the carving, devouring all surrounding illumination. It was as though the carving had come alive. The plants began to writhe, then surged outward. As they spread, 5 enormous black flowers, each 1,000 feet tall, emerged from the void. They radiated a bizarre aura. One flower lunged toward the ancient god finger. Its center split open, like a mouth exhaling an icy, chilling force. The remaining 4 followed, spewing vast quantities of black gas. At the same time, the carving's eyes glowed red. It opened its arms as though embracing something unseen and plunged into the black gas. It clung directly onto the ancient god finger. From its body, black lines spread rapidly, covering the finger entirely. From afar, Wang Lin watched and let out a cold sneer. If the ancient god finger could be so easily neutralized, all heaven would not have gone to such lengths to bring the moon-gazer serpent here. This serpent was the most powerful weapon they had prepared for this war. His gaze shifted, landing on the massive piece of wood in the distance. I doubt its purpose is merely to charge forward. After standing upon it for so long, I sensed something else hidden within. Thoughts flashed rapidly through his mind. This war between 2 star systems had expanded his horizons beyond measure. To him it was invaluable. His cultivation time was too short compared to these ancient experts. His knowledge naturally was lacking. This battle was like a grand exhibition of spells and treasures. He absorbed everything. He witnessed the terrifying power of Nirvana Cleanser and Nirvana Shatterer cultivators. Without this war, such understanding would have been nearly impossible to attain. At that moment, as the Black Fiend Devil Saint struggled to restrain the ancient god finger, the Alliance made its move. The remaining 10 refined corpses roared and charged forward. The 2 silver corpses were the fastest. Yet even combined, they could not rival the might of the ancient god's finger. The moongazer serpent advanced once more, releasing another thunderous roar. Its voice shook the entire void. Cultivators with weaker cultivation were forced to flee or risk severe injury. To others, it was merely a roar, but to Wang Lin it carried a completely different meaning. His expression changed instantly. Without hesitation, his hands moved, laying down layers of restrictions before him. The ancient god furnace appeared, enveloping him as he retreated swiftly. At the very moment he withdrew, the serpent's roar caused the ancient god finger, which the devil saint and refined corpses were resisting, to explode. Boom! The explosion defied description. Everything within 5,000 kilometers was torn apart instantly. Screams echoed as countless cultivators were dragged into the ruptured void, vanishing without a trace. Panic spread. Cultivators fled in terror, cursing their own slowness. Only the moongazer serpent remained completely unharmed. It surged forward, its tentacles sweeping through the battlefield in a merciless slaughter. At the center of the explosion, the Black Fiend Devil Saint coughed blood violently. His body was flung backward. In all his tens of thousands of years of cultivation, he had never been reduced to such a miserable state. His body was severely damaged, on the verge of collapse. Shock filled him. Never before had he encountered such a terrifying beast. Coughing blood, he fled in panic, utterly shaken. As for the refined corpses, aside from the 2 silver ones, the rest were completely unable to resist the ancient god finger. They had already burst into masses of flesh and blood dragged into the void. Even the two silver corpses were blasted backward. Their chains shattered as they spat black blood. The beautiful female corpse, however, changed direction. It charged straight toward Wang Lin. A cold light flashed in his eyes. This kind of treasure should belong to me. Wang Lin was the first to sense the change. Because of that, he was already prepared. A moment before the ancient god's finger detonated, he had retreated and activated the ancient god furnace. The impact on him was minimal. His gaze swept over the moon-gazer serpent, then fell upon the female corpse that had been flung toward him. The instant he first saw that refined corpse, the thought of seizing it had already taken root. When the ancient god finger exploded, he deliberately adjusted his trajectory for that very silver corpse. Of the two silver corpses, the male one was too badly damaged. Wang Lin abandoned it without hesitation. The female corpse, though not unscathed, was clearly in far better condition. Since I stand within a battlefield, taking a treasure will draw no blame, especially in such chaos. A glint flickered in Wang Lin's eyes. Borrowing the confusion wrought by the explosion, he rushed toward the female corpse. Yet he was not the only one thinking of profiting from turmoil. Several others had already set their sights on it. Among them were cultivators from both All Heaven and the Alliance. 7 figures surged forward from different directions. Wang Lin was not the closest, but he was the fastest. As he advanced, a chill surfaced in his eyes. Only a few breaths would bring him to the corpse. Yet suddenly his gaze sharpened and he deliberately slowed. The instant he slowed, an all-heaven cultivator shot forward, closing the distance and reaching out. At the same moment, an alliance cultivator stepped in, not to seize the corpse, but to open his mouth and release a streak of sword energy straight toward the all-heaven cultivator. They clashed at close range. Though it sounded lengthy, everything unfolded in a heartbeat. Amid their clash, another cultivator slipped through the gap. He seized the woman's arm and turned to flee, but in that very instant his body stiffened. He spun around, terror flooding his eyes. A scream tore from his throat as his flesh shrank rapidly until he collapsed into a pool of blood. The sudden horror stunned the two who were fighting. Their gazes locked onto the female corpse. Neither dared touch it again. After only a brief hesitation, 3 people, including Wang Lin, accelerated once more. Wang Lin's eyes gleamed. The ancient god furnace manifested around him. In a flash, he exchanged positions with an all-heaven cultivator ahead. That cultivator felt a force drag him away. When his vision cleared, he realized he had been swapped with Wang Lin. Recognizing him, he gave a bitter smile, abandoned the treasure, and rushed toward another. Wang Lin wasted no time. He closed in on the female corpse. The 2 nearest cultivators saw others approaching. Gritting their teeth, they lunged together, grasping the corpse at nearly the same moment. Then they screamed. Their bodies withered, instantly collapsing into blood that was drawn into the corpse. The blood condensed into a faint red glow between her brows. An alliance cultivator in a python robe arrived next. Laughing, he reached out. Though it appeared he aimed to seize the corpse, his hand concealed a spell, his intent closer to attack than acquisition. Wang Lin arrived almost simultaneously. His fingers formed a sword seal as he thrust forward and shouted, "Stand aside." The man chuckled. Not only did he ignore the warning, he accelerated. "So even Thunder Celestial Shumu covets this beauty," he whispered. Coldness flashed through Wang Lin's eyes. Just as the man neared the corpse, Wang Lin pointed forward and spoke softly. "Stop." The cultivator trembled. Invisible threads seemed to bind him. His body froze in place. Wang Lin did not pause. In a blur, he reached the corpse. His movement was precise. He did not seize her outright. Instead, as his hand neared his origin energy, ancient god power, and the yin-yang fishes imprinted themselves between her brows. A dull bang echoed. The corpse trembled. The red light formed from devoured blood instantly dissipated. Without hesitation, Wang Lin grabbed her and passed the immobilized cultivator. As he did, he drove a kick into the man's chest. A flash of white light burst forth. The man was sent flying, coughing blood. His face turned pale, yet he survived. His gaze turned venomous as he retreated, clutching his chest. Holding the corpse, Wang Lin glanced down. A faint red glow still lingered around her, slowly converging toward her face. His earlier hesitation had not been without reason. He had sensed something amiss. What followed confirmed his suspicion. Several cultivators had perished. Had the corpse only been dangerous, he would have abandoned it. This was war, survival came first. But after absorbing the blood essence of 3 cultivators, it had changed. That change was worth the risk. As he retreated, his left hand formed seals. Layer upon layer of restrictions fell upon the corpse, along with a mouthful of origin essence. He sealed her away into his storage, then surged into the collapsing void. The collapse had formed a massive vortex. A terrifying suction devoured everything in its reach. Only the moongazer serpent moved freely, slaughtering without restraint. At this moment, several ancient alliance monsters surrounded it, halting its advance. Even the cloud dragon demon saint closed in. Yet Blood God and the others also encircled the serpent, clashing fiercely with the alliance. The blood entities that had appeared one after another unleashed overwhelming assaults. Thunderous rumbles echoed endlessly, interwoven with the serpent's roars. In the distance, the battle between Master Flamespark and Wudo Chan shook heaven and earth. Within the black mist, their clashes were violent beyond measure. The fluctuations alone forced even Blood God and his peers to avoid them. Far away, the woman in blue stood calmly, her expression untroubled, as she observed everything. Beside her stood a golden corpse, silent and cold. 5 yellow talismans rotated slowly around its head. Lightning flickered between them, maintaining an unbroken seal. The woman raised her hand gently. "I invite Zhuan Palace's Grand Elder esteemed Zhuan Bao." A laugh rippled across the starry sky. There was little cultivation in that laugh, yet every treasure trembled, as though ready to abandon its master. The fleeing black fiend devil saint exhaled in relief. Even the cloud dragon demon saint relaxed, ceasing his fight and retreating without hesitation. They both understood. The so-called 4 saints were not truly equal. Only Xianxia was a true saint. The Alliance's 4 saints were Mooncloud Zhen and Yao. Xianxia was the Zhen saint. Each commanded 3 subordinates, forming the structure known as the 4 saints. In truth, for this battle, the Alliance had only deployed the Zhen saint and his 3 subordinates. Esteemed Zhuan Bao held immense status within the Zhuan Palace. But what truly inspired fear and reverence was this: he was one of the Alliance elders, beings who could decide everything within the Alliance. That was his true identity. Beyond the elder group itself, no one knew how many members it contained. Each was unfathomably powerful, capable of overturning the heavens. All-Seer's prestige and the Alliance's offering of gifts on his birthday stemmed from one fact: he too was once a member of that group. Though certain events had diminished his standing, he remained among them. Had All-Seer not chosen a low-profile figures like Ling Tianhe would not even exist. If he wished, he could erase them in an instant. Yet after that incident, he withdrew further, rarely attending elder gatherings, isolating himself from all. It must be said, neither Xianxia nor Wudo Chan, who now battled Master Flamespark, qualified to become elders. Before esteemed Xuan Bao, they were nothing. No one knew what level of cultivation was required to enter the elder group. Some suspected cultivation alone was insufficient. That group held the Alliance's deepest secrets and its highest authority. They were the true rulers. Esteemed Senbao wore white robes. His frame was thin, lending him an ethereal presence. His eyes shone with unfathomable depth. To meet his gaze was to risk being drawn in, unable to escape. He appeared as a true elder, a whisk resting in his hand as he stepped beside the woman in blue. She bowed slightly. "Junior greets, Uncle Master." Xuan Bao glanced toward the distant battlefield and smiled. "Little girl, your master entrusted you with this war. He made all listen to you. He even chose this battlefield deliberately." His tone was light. Such fortune is rare. He seemed utterly unconcerned with the chaos. Only when his gaze fell upon the moon-gazer serpent did his pupils contract slightly. A faint, knowing smile appeared. I had not expected the records of the ancient Rain celestial realm to be true after all. Esteemed Yuanbao smiled faintly, his gaze resting upon the moon-gazer serpent as it advanced, encircled by the cultivators of all heaven. A glint of light flickered within his eyes. He lifted his right hand and waved it gently through the void. His voice was soft, yet it carried with it an unquestionable authority. Rain celestial god. The moment the words left his lips, thunderous roars rippled across the starry expanse. Before him, space tore open with a deafening crack. It resembled a wound ripped into the fabric of the heavens, stretching over 1,000 feet in length. An overwhelming pressure descended. Golden light erupted. From within that rift, a figure stepped forth. Clad in radiant golden armor, the man shone like the sun itself, dazzling and impossible to ignore. His armor was intricate, majestic, as though forged by the heavens. He stood like a divine soldier, a guardian of celestial order. With a single step, he descended from the crack. Then more golden light flared. 1, 2, 3 more figures emerged. In an instant, the entire region was engulfed in a blazing golden radiance. When Wang Lin saw these 4 golden-armored men, his pupils contracted violently. A shock unlike any before surged through him. Celestial guards. He could feel it clearly. The aura they emitted was identical to Tarshan's. There was no doubt. These towering figures had been refined through the same secret method created by Celestial Emperor Qing Lin. Celestial guards are divided into gold, silver, copper, and iron ranks. These 4 are all gold rank. Wang Lin's gaze flickered toward esteemed Xuanbao. Without hesitation, he retreated swiftly toward the edge of the vortex. Esteemed Yuanbao remained expressionless. His right hand lifted once more. In a flash, the 4 golden celestial guards moved. They charged. The moon-gazer serpent let out a furious roar. Its countless tentacles lashed outward, sweeping across everything in their path. At the same time, Blood God and the others beside it surged forward. Blood God formed a hand seal as he advanced. Crimson light spread outward, and with a wave of his hand, a vast sea of blood manifested from nothingness, crashing forward like a tidal wave. Yet, when it struck the celestial guards, it did little more than slow them for a fleeting moment. The guards split apart. 4 directions. They surrounded the moon-gazer serpent, forming a deadly encirclement alongside the all-heaven cultivators. Esteemed Yuanbao extended his hand into the void again. Another crack appeared. From within it, 9 black butterflies fluttered out. Their bodies were pitch black. From afar they appeared ominous, almost feral. The moment they emerged, their wings beat in unison, stirring a violent storm. The storm surged forward. The butterflies danced within it. At the instant they appeared, even Wang Lin's composure wavered. His expression changed drastically. This is the butterfly formed by the god-slaying war chariot, he gasped. But soon he noticed the difference. The butterfly formed by the war chariot had been multicolored, brilliant, almost breathtaking in its beauty. These, however, were utterly black. Their power leaned toward an entirely different extreme. What? Is this old man's identity? Wang Lin felt his scalp go numb. Not even Qing Shui had shaken him like this. Not even the mysterious cultivator who had intervened between Qing Shui and the blood god had caused such disbelief. The celestial guard, the butterfly, these were treasures Wang Lin himself possessed. Yet now seeing them in another's hands, the shock reached its peak. Wang Lin took a deep breath. He forced himself to look away. His body moved. Fast. He shot toward a treasure drifting among the stars, something he had been watching for some time. It was the wooden carving once taken out by the black fiend devil saint. Though only half remained, it still emitted a formidable pressure. Wang Lin's expression turned cold. This battle was no longer one he could participate in directly. The wisest choice now was to fish in troubled waters. He sped toward the half-damaged carving. He was not alone in this thought. Around the carving, several cultivators were already locked in fierce combat, preventing anyone from approaching. The moment Wang Lin appeared, he drew their attention. Their reactions were immediate. The All-Heaven cultivators hesitated. The Alliance cultivators did not. Several of them turned and rushed toward Wang Lin without delay. Wang Lin remained calm. His right hand formed a seal. With a wave, a violent gust of wind surged forward. Then, without pause, he threw a punch. A thunderous explosion echoed. The force of the punch fused with the gale, forming a unique power, one that belonged solely to Wang Lin. The power of the ancient god. The power of spells. Their fusion was only just beginning, yet even now it displayed terrifying might. As the force swept across the Alliance cultivators, their bodies trembled. Even their origin souls quivered. An indescribable, mysterious force descended upon them. A single thought filled their minds: retreat. If they did not retreat, they would die. They had cultivated for countless years, yet never had they encountered such a spell. Wang Lin's eyes gleamed. The ancient god furnace appeared around him. In an instant, he exchanged positions with one of his opponents. To the surrounding cultivators, everything blurred. When clarity returned, Wang Lin had already moved. He charged forward. In the blink of an eye, he reached the wooden carving. But just as he approached, a strand of sword energy tore through the void rushing toward him. It carried an overwhelming tyranny, as if all things must yield or be destroyed. Wang Lin recognized it immediately. Ling Tianhou. This treasure belongs to Chen Long of my Daolo sword sect. The cold voice echoed as the sword energy closed in. If Wang Lin reached for the treasure, he would be struck. His expression did not change. He did not hesitate. He seized the half-destroyed carving. At the same time, a strange light flickered in his eyes. He opened his mouth and spat out an object to block before him. The 18 Hell Celestial Sealing stamp appeared instantly. The sword energy collided with it and shattered. The stamp did not move in the slightest. Wang Lin recalled it calmly. An old acquaintance who barely escaped with his soul dares to steal before me. His voice was cold. Chen Long's expression shifted dramatically. He knew this was not the moment to fight. Without another word, he withdrew. There were too many cultivators, too much chaos. Faces were indistinct. Movements were constant. Chen Long had not recognized Wang Lin before. Yet now, those words struck him like thunder. Disbelief filled his eyes. Wang Lin ignored him completely. His figure blurred and vanished. He moved through the battlefield, collecting the magic treasures of the fallen. Yet his divine sense remained fixed upon the moongazer serpent. He waited for the moment when the Alliance would fully engage it, and he could seize the inheritance within. From time to time, his gaze drifted toward the woman in blue. Her attitude toward him was strange. As he moved cautiously through the battlefield, a question lingered in his mind. Who was she? Meanwhile, the 4 golden celestial guards tightened their formation around the moongazer serpent. A circle of gold, a prison. As Blood God and the others resisted, the 9 black butterflies beat their wings. The storm intensified, forming a massive vortex with the serpent at its center. A vortex that seemed to link heaven and earth. Within it, Blood God and his companions wore grim expressions. Their magic treasures clashed repeatedly, thunder echoing without end. The moongazer serpent grew more furious. Trapped once, then trapped again. It was driven nearly insane. It opened its massive jaws and roared. From that roar, ancient god language emerged. It was casting an ancient god spell. Esteemed Xuanbao's eyes shone brightly. He pointed forward, laughing. The butterfly's wings beat faster. Black lines appeared. Countless lines intersected, weaving a net around the serpent, sealing it within. The 4 golden guards roared in unison. Their bodies trembled, then expanded. Each became a giant 1,000 feet tall. Together they attacked. Esteemed Xuanbao smiled faintly. His right hand reached out once more. Another crack tore open. From within it, green gas billowed outward. Along with it came an aura so terrifying that all cultivators within 5,000 kilometers felt their minds tremble. Wang Lin's body shuddered. He looked closely. From within the crack, an arrow emerged. It was enormous, over 300 feet long, 7 feet wide. Its body was entirely green. The arrowhead bore 6 sharp edges. At its tail were purple feathers, and upon it, dark red bloodstains. It was that blood that shook every cultivator present. The moment the arrow appeared, even Blood God and the others changed expression. Even Master Flamespark, locked in battle with Wudo Chan, trembled as his gaze snapped toward it. Pseudo-Nirvana Void Arrow. At that very moment, the Moongazer Serpent unleashed a roar that seemed to carry the language of ancient gods. The sound reverberated through the void. A massive crack tore open space itself and surged directly toward esteemed Xuan Bao. In an instant, the space surrounding him collapsed inward. The rumbling spread in waves. Yet esteemed Xuan Bao remained calm. His gaze was steady. He raised a finger and pointed toward the 300-foot arrow. Nirvana Void. Master Flamespark's pupils contracted sharply. His expression turned grave. He recognized that arrow. It was one of the Alliance's supreme treasures, the pseudo-Nirvana Void Arrow. Legends claimed its origin was unknown. It had existed since ancient times, perhaps even since the era of the Celestial Realm. There were whispers that the blood stain upon it held strange and unpredictable power. Before he had chosen to slaughter his way into the Alliance, Master Flamespark had prepared counters for every known treasure. And when he saw this arrow, he merely sneered. This pseudo-Nirvana Void Arrow is said to be unfathomable, but I wonder how it compares to this moon beast. At the command of esteemed Xuan Bao, the 300-foot arrow trembled. Then, like a bolt released from a divine bow, it shot forward, cutting through space as it charged straight toward the Moongazer Serpent. The serpent's eyes gleamed with endless cold. The instant it sensed the arrow, a flicker of danger rose within it. As the arrow closed in, it opened its jaws and roared. Specks of light gathered before it, condensing rapidly into the shape of an ancient god's finger. The moment the finger formed, it shot forward without hesitation, colliding head-on with the incoming arrow. The Moongazer Serpent roared again, this time with fury. From within its vast body, countless smaller Moongazer Serpents surged outward. Hundreds of thousands of them, varying in size, flooded the battlefield. Chaos erupted instantly. This was no longer a war between all heaven and the Alliance. It had become a battle between the Alliance and the Moongazer Serpent. As the swarm poured forth, the cultivators of the Alliance were struck with shock. Their expressions changed drastically. They retreated at once, but their speed was insufficient. The smaller serpents spread like a tide, unleashing a brutal massacre. Amid the chaos, even some all-heaven cultivators were caught in the storm. As for Wang Lin, a 30,000-foot Moongazer Serpent lunged toward him. His expression darkened. He moved swiftly, evading it without hesitation. He had no intention of becoming entangled. He understood clearly the purpose of these lesser serpents was to condense a single terrifying force, the most powerful ancient god finger. At that moment, the arrow arrived. It collided with the ancient god finger formed by the Moongazer Serpent. A deafening explosion resounded across the northern region of the Alliance. From the dark red bloodstain upon the arrow, an ancient aura erupted. It tore through the finger with overwhelming force, shattering it, and continued its charge toward the Moongazer Serpent itself. Wang Lin's eyes widened in shock. For the first time, the Moongazer Serpent hesitated. Then it roared again, louder, deeper. At that instant, every smaller Moongazer Serpent turned simultaneously, including the one pursuing Wang Lin. They all lifted their heads and roared. This was no single cry. It was the unified roar of hundreds of thousands, answering the call of their progenitor. One by one, ancient god fingers began to manifest. The air filled with them, countless, overwhelming. The entire region was saturated with that ancient aura. Wang Lin's body trembled. Every pore opened. Ecstasy filled his eyes as he absorbed the aura like a starving man. He could feel it clearly. His ancient god body was growing stronger, rapidly, violently. The illusory fourth star between his brows began to solidify, becoming more real with every passing breath. His heart surged with exhilaration. Ancient god aura. I never imagined such a thing would form here. Though faint, It truly exists. The countless fingers merged, condensing into a single, nearly corporeal ancient god finger before the eyes of all present. The cracks upon it were vivid, real, terrifying. Even esteemed Yuan Bao's expression shifted slightly. A trace of gloom appeared. This moon-gazer serpent is not as described in the ancient records. But no matter. With the pseudo-nirvana void arrow, it cannot escape. His confidence did not waver. If I can capture and refine this creature, it will become another pseudo-nirvana void treasure. By fusing the two, with the preparations I have made over tens of thousands of years, I am 80% certain I can create a rank 8 pseudo-nirvana void treasure. His eyes gleamed. With that, my standing among the elders will rise, and I will finally have the means to contend with Zhong Xuanzi. The arrow surged forward once more. It collided again with the newly formed ancient god finger. The moon-gazer serpent roared its massive body, charging forward behind the finger. Then, a shocking transformation unfolded. The ancient god finger collapsed. A thunderous explosion swept across the region. All nearby cultivators, Wang Lin included, felt their blood surge violently within their bodies. They coughed up blood. For Wang Lin, it was already unbearable. For the others, it was fatal. Their bodies shattered, instantly reduced to flesh and blood, obliterated by the shockwave. Even the blood god and the others turned pale. They retreated at once. In the blink of an eye, the battlefield near the moon-gazer serpent was empty. Only 4 golden celestial guards remained, clinging stubbornly to the serpent. Together with the 9 black butterflies, they continued to generate violent storms. As the ancient god finger disintegrated, more than half of the smaller moon-gazer serpents collapsed as well. Blue blood sprayed into the void so much that it seemed to dye space itself. Wang Lin stared in disbelief. This was the first time he had witnessed a moon-gazer serpent collapse. Even if they were only lesser serpents, the sheer number shook his mind. These creatures lived within the bodies of ancient gods. Their resilience was beyond comprehension. Even the smallest among them were not beings cultivators could hope to destroy. And yet, everything he knew had just been overturned. What kind of treasure is this pseudo-nirvana void arrow? He wiped the blood from his lips, his mind blank. But the destruction was not one-sided. As the ancient god finger and the smaller serpents perished, the arrow itself began to fracture. Cracks spread across its length. Under the overwhelming impact, it shattered inch by inch. Esteemed Yuanbao's eyes shone brightly. Though events had deviated slightly from his expectations, the outcome still lay within his grasp. This moon-gazer serpent belongs to this old man. He laughed and stepped forward. From the shattered remains of the arrow, a shadow emerged. It was another arrow, only 3 inches long, yet identical in form to the original. Except, the blood upon it was no longer dark. It was bright, fresh, scarlet, as though it had just been stained. This was the true pseudo-nirvana void arrow. It shot forward with unimaginable speed. In an instant, it pierced directly between the moon-gazer serpent's eyes. The moment it entered, a terrifying force erupted. The stars themselves trembled. For the first time, the moon-gazer serpent's massive body shook and retreated. A black vortex formed between its eyes. It collapsed violently. A torrent of blue blood erupted outward. The arrow spun within the vortex, driving deeper with each rotation. Every movement caused further collapse. The moon-gazer serpent let out a miserable, agonized scream. The sound pierced the heavens. Wang Lin trembled. It was as though a blade had pierced his own heart. He retreated even faster, his gaze fixed on the serpent. This was the first time it had suffered such grievous injury. Its cry echoed endlessly. The remaining smaller serpents began to collapse one after another. In mere moments, all of them perished. The moon-gazer serpent's eyes turned blood red. True fury had awakened. This anger far surpassed anything it had felt in tens of thousands of years, especially toward the arrow that now threatened its very existence. Its mournful cry rose to its peak. Then, 7 faint stars appeared before it. They rotated slowly. Under its roar, one of them exploded, a shattered ancient god star. Wang Lin's eyes flickered with a strange light. From the shattered star, an immense force surged forth. It was so powerful that it tore apart the vortex between the serpent's eyes. The arrow was forced out. Esteemed Xuanbao's expression changed as he approached. Impossible. According to the ancient records, an ordinary moon-gazer serpent cannot survive a pseudo-nirvana void treasure. Even if this one is larger and fiercer, it should already be crippled. Master Flamespark sneered coldly. Senior said it clearly. The purpose of sending this beast into the alliance was to provoke its anger. The angrier it becomes, the greater the destruction it will unleash. The moon-gazer serpent's fury reached its apex. Borrowing the power of the shattered star, it forced the arrow out of its body. Pain overwhelmed it. Sanity faded. Its eyes burned red. Only one thought remained. Kill, 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 kill. Roar. As the moon-gazer serpent's roar reverberated through the void, the countless tentacles covering its body suddenly detached. They did not scatter. Instead, they converged before it, intertwining, layering, fusing until they formed a colossal arm. The arm stretched for 100,000 feet, coiling into a massive fist. From afar, it resembled the limb of an ancient god. The fury of the moon-gazer serpent was like a single finger of that god. Yet when its rage reached its peak, it became the full arm of an ancient god. The instant that arm took shape, it surged forward without hesitation. Its target was the pseudo-nirvana void arrow. As the fist moved, Wang Lin felt a strange illusion take hold. It was as though time had reversed, dragging him back countless years, into the primordial era when ancient gods overturned the heavens. He saw it clearly, an ancient god raising its arm, roaring into the void. Planets shattered. Space itself collapsed. All enemies crumbled into nothing. At this moment, the arm formed by the moon-gazer serpent carried that same will. The punch descended upon the arrow. The arrow trembled violently, then shattered. Even a pseudo-nirvana void treasure could not withstand a single blow from the arm of an ancient god. Esteemed Xuanbao coughed up blood and retreated instantly, not daring to hesitate. Yet at that very moment, an extreme chill spread across the starry expanse. At the same time, a streak of red lightning closed in. It was too fast. Its timing perfect. It struck at the exact instant when Xuanbao's mind faltered from the destruction of his treasure. The red lightning carried an unbearable cold infused with the terrifying power of Qi. It flashed forward the moment he retreated. There was no time to evade. The lightning pierced into his body. His expression changed drastically. Blood spilled from his mouth. His eyes lost focus for a fleeting instant. And in that instant, Qing Shui stepped forward clad in white. His expression was indifferent cold. As he appeared, his right eye flickered red. From it, several more bolts of red lightning shot out, all aimed at esteemed Xuanbao. The Qi realm had appeared. Qi realm. A muffled explosion echoed from within Xuanbao's body. Blood burst from his back. He retreated rapidly, yet the red lightning pursued relentlessly. Qing Shui had long since arrived. No one present, aside from Xuanbao, was worthy of forcing him to act. His hand formed a seal. He pointed upward. In an instant, black wind howled into existence, condensing into 7 black dragons. They roared as they surged forward, exhaling a deathly cold capable of extinguishing all life. Xuanbao, do you still recognize this lord? Qing Shui's voice was calm, yet carried an unyielding chill. Qing Shui, you're not dead. Xuanbao's pupils shrank. He retreated, but the 7 black dragons sealed his path. Facing the oncoming frost, he clenched his teeth, forming a seal and pointing forward. The 9 black butterflies surrounding the moon-gazer serpent vanished. When they reappeared, they were beside Xuanbao. 9 butterflies. Returned to 1. The 9 butterflies flapped their wings simultaneously, emitting black radiance. In an instant, they fused into 1. As the 9 beams of black light merged, an unimaginable transformation occurred. The single butterfly now emitted a 4-colored glow. With each beat of its wings, 4-colored powder drifted down, forming a swirling vortex around Xuanbao. It immediately blocked the 7 black dragons outside. If this were a treasure crafted by your senior brother, esteemed Tian Bao, I might show some concern. But you are not qualified. Qing Shui's voice echoed coldly. Both his hands formed seals. The 7 black dragons roared. Then in the sky, countless raindrops appeared, hundreds of thousands, nearly 1,000,000 densely packed as they crashed toward Xuanbao, who stood protected within the 4-colored vortex. Popping sounds echoed endlessly. Xuanbao revealed a bitter smile. His identity had always been obscure to others, but before Qing Shui there was nothing to hide. He was a celestial of the Rain Celestial realm, the junior brother of esteemed Tian Bao, the creator of the god-slaying war chariot. Qing Shui, do not force me too far. The celestial realm is gone. This is the Alliance star system. Sembao Roared. His arms spread wide. The celestial origin he had sealed for countless years was suddenly released. Endless celestial spiritual energy flooded the surroundings. For a brief moment it felt as though the celestial realm itself had returned. At the same time he formed a seal and pointed at the 4-colored butterfly. The butterfly trembled. One of its wings fell like a drifting petal. In an instant it split into 4 colors, forming 4 distinct vortexes. Law of Nirvana Void. As his voice echoed, the 4 vortexes exploded simultaneously. Vast amounts of 4-colored powder spread outward. Qing Shui's Call the Wind and Summon the Rain were instantly affected. They dissipated. Completely. Not a trace remained. All of it vanished. Without hesitation, Xuanbao pointed forward again. The butterfly's remaining wing fell. As the butterfly disintegrated, the wing floated and transformed once more. All spells that had just vanished, including Qing Shui's Call the Wind and Summon the Rain, reappeared. But now they belonged to Xuanbao. With a roar, he extended his arm and pushed the spells forward. Part of them was used to restrain the moon gazer serpent. The rest surged toward Qing Shui. Seizing the moment, Xuanbao retreated swiftly. Yet the red lightning clung to him like a curse refusing to disperse. If only the pseudo-Nirvana void arrow still remained, he would have no fear in facing Qing Shui. Thinking of it, his heart ached. He had never expected the moon gazer serpent to be this powerful, so far beyond what ancient records described. Otherwise, he would never have come. Not only had he failed, he had lost his only pseudo-Nirvana void treasure. He could already foresee it, his standing among the elders would plummet. And now he had encountered Qing Shui, the fiend from the past. He did not know how Qing Shui had survived. But since he himself had endured until now, Qing Shui must possess methods of his own. But there was no time to ponder. Only one thought remained: escape. When Wang Lin witnessed all this, his mind trembled. His heart began to pound violently. Bang, bang, bang. All sound faded from his ears except the rhythm of his own heartbeat. His mind had already captured the hand seals Xuanbao had used. He memorized them completely. So, this is esteemed Tian Bao's junior brother. That 4-colored butterfly was created by him. Yet it is inferior to Tian Bao's creation. If I can decipher that seal. His heartbeat accelerated. His eyes did not blink. The returning Call the Wind and Summon the Rain did not trouble Qing Shui in the slightest. His gaze remained cold. His right hand reached into the void. Countless crystalline specks appeared in his palm, then scattered forward. Magic arsenal. The specks dispersed, transforming into countless shadows. Qing Shui had used this once before. Each shadow radiated a powerful aura. In an instant, thousands of soldiers stood before him. With a single point of his finger, they charged toward the oncoming spells. Xuanbao's pupils contracted. Bitterness surged within him. Among those shadows were figures he once knew. He sighed softly. Then a fierce light flashed in his eyes. Qing Shui, today this old man will show you the power of magic treasures. All treasures under heaven contain a sliver of source origin energy. This old man has studied it for tens of thousands of years and glimpsed its path. His arms spread wide. Each hand formed a different seal. An invisible ripple spread outward from his body. In the blink of an eye, it covered tens of thousands of kilometers. The treasures of the surrounding cultivators began to tremble. Then they moved on their own. Expressions changed drastically. Connections between treasures and their masters were severed. The scene left everyone stunned. Even the treasures left behind by fallen cultivators began to gather toward Xuanbao. It was as if he had become the sovereign of all magic treasures. All treasures answered his call. Yet what truly caused terror was the bags of holding. They, too, were treasures. In that instant, every bag of holding flew into the air. As they rose, they opened on their own. The treasures within spilled out, drawn toward Xuanbao. Wang Lin's bag of holding was no exception. His expression changed. His right hand shot forward, grabbing the bag. But at that moment, a mysterious force enveloped it. The instant he touched it, a burning heat surged into his body. If he did not let go, his origin soul would be destroyed. Around him, many cultivators also tried to seize their bags. But after a brief struggle, they all released them, faces filled with bitterness, watching as their possessions were taken. Wang Lin's bag contained too many precious items. He could not let go. At the critical moment, he opened his third eye without hesitation. A red light fell upon the bag. A trace of source origin emerged, dispersing the strange force. Wang Lin's face turned pale. He exhaled deeply, gripping his bag of holding, tightly refusing to release it. Countless treasures gathered around esteemed Xuanbao, only to collapse one after another. Each time a treasure shattered, a wisp of white gas slipped free and drifted outward. In the blink of an eye, dense white gas enveloped esteemed Xuanbao. Just as Qing Shui's magic arsenal closed in, he spread his arms wide and roared, "Magic power Nirvana void." The instant those 4 words left his lips, the surrounding white gas surged violently outward, crashing headlong into Qing Shui's magic arsenal. Bang, 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 bang. A tremendous shock resounded across the starry void. The collapse worsened. The original vortex, 5,000 kilometers wide, tore open even further. Many cultivators failed to evade in time and were swallowed into the void. Once drawn into a vortex formed by spatial collapse, survival was nearly impossible. No one dared approach it lightly. Space trembled violently, yet the moon-gazer serpent remained unaffected. Its eyes burned red. Its hatred for esteemed Xuanbao ran to the bone for injuring it, for slaughtering countless lesser moon-gazer serpents. The ancient god arm that had surged forward paused briefly when Qing Shui appeared. Yet the serpent's eyes remained blood-red. The moment esteemed Xuanbao unleashed his spell, the arm surged forward once more. At the same time, laughter echoed through the stars. Master Flamespark had shaken off Wudo Chan. His hands formed seals, and dozens of celestial fragments flew out, forming a vast vortex spanning thousands of kilometers. Rich celestial spiritual energy spread outward. The vortex surged with power as it rushed toward esteemed Xuanbao. "Celestial Lord Qing Shui, allow this old man to assist you." Wudo Chan's eyes gleamed. He followed closely behind, intent on helping esteemed Xuanbao survive this life-and-death crisis. Esteemed Xuanbao felt his scalp go numb. This battle was perhaps the most dangerous of his life, aside from the collapse of the celestial realm itself. Before him stood Qing Shui. Behind him loomed the moon-gazer serpent. Above him descended Master Flamespark. There was nowhere to evade. Faced with certain death, his immense celestial origin surged outward, forming countless layers of barriers. "If I can endure this, I may yet live." As his origin energy enveloped him, the moon-gazer serpent's ancient god arm arrived. With a deafening crash, layer after layer of celestial barriers shattered. At that very moment, Qing Shui arrived, trailing several streaks of red lightning. Thunder roared. Esteemed Xuanbao coughed up blood instantly. Then came Master Flamespark's celestial fragments. Esteemed Xuanbao's physical body collapsed. His origin soul fled on the verge of disintegration. A golden robe enveloped it, resisting the impacts again and again until it finally shattered. The upheaval intensified. The torn space expanded further. Over 10,000 kilometers became a region of utter destruction. Countless cultivators were trapped within. Around Wang Lin, the ancient god furnace appeared. He shifted positions constantly, yet his gaze remained fixed upon the moongazer serpent, waiting for the right moment. Nearby, the lotus circled the woman in blue. She remained unharmed. The golden corpse beside her stood equally intact, its expression cold. She gazed upon the chaos before her and let out a soft sigh. Her eyes turned toward Wang Lin. A complex emotion flickered within them. I wonder whether Lord will recognize me the next time we meet. The lotus had absorbed all the death aura from the battle. Now that aura spread outward, shrouding it in a mist-like haze. She raised her jade-like hand, pointing toward the golden corpse. Release seal. The moment those words were spoken, they manifested into tangible seals that descended upon the corpse. It trembled. The 5 talismans on its head ceased their rotation. Its eyes shone brightly, and from its mouth erupted the roar of a dragon. Its body expanded violently, transforming in an instant into a true dragon. Not an illusion, but flesh and blood. Its scales gleamed with brilliance as it roared and surged forward. The woman in blue sighed once more, casting one last glance toward Wang Lin. Her form gradually faded until she vanished completely. The golden dragon roared as it charged into the battlefield. 5 yellow talismans hovered above its head, emitting suppressive force. The moment it arrived, its body shone, and an ancient voice echoed across heaven and earth. Poison flame. One of the talismans ignited instantly. In the blink of an eye, flames engulfed the dragon. These flames were venomous. The poison was beyond imagination. As it spread, it wrapped around esteemed Xuan Bao's nearly dissipated origin soul, preparing to carry it away. Yet at that moment, a crackling sound emerged from the unmoving giant wood. A massive fissure split it open. A flash of green light appeared. A man stepped out. He wore a green robe, his appearance refined and calm. As he emerged, he smiled faintly and closed in instantly upon the golden dragon. His hand formed a seal pointing forward. An illusory giant tree appeared and crashed downward. This old man is the 9th elder of the all-heaven ancient clans. How could I allow you to escape? The golden dragon was blocked, yet its eyes shone fiercely. It opened its mouth, releasing black earth filled with overwhelming death aura. Buried earth. The green-robed elder Yi Muzi raised his right hand and struck the void. Thunder roared endlessly, forming a storm. He stepped forward, waving his arm. Towering wooden structures appeared behind him, densely packed, forming an impenetrable barrier. You cannot escape. With a faint smile, Yi Muzi waved his hand. The massive wooden structures surged forward, forcing the golden dragon into retreat. At this moment, Wudo Chan approached to assist. Qing Shui let out a cold snort. Red lightning shot forth, intercepting him. Master Flamespark seized the opportunity. With a gesture, the celestial vortex expanded several-fold. Meanwhile, the moongazer serpent's ancient god arm also descended. Yet the serpent had lost all reason. Its hatred no longer targeted only esteemed Xuan Bao. It extended to all. As the arm descended, the serpent opened its massive maw and inhaled violently. Its entire body trembled from the force. The arm swept everything aside and seized the golden dragon. Clutching it, the arm withdrew swiftly and hurled the dragon into the serpent's mouth. To the moongazer serpent, killing its enemy was insufficient. It sought to slowly absorb and digest its life force. After devouring the dragon, the serpent's clarity vanished. Instead of advancing, it turned and plunged into the collapsing vortex. To enter the vortex was to enter the void beneath shattered space. This sudden shift caused Qing Shui's eyes to gleam. He was determined to obtain esteemed Xuan Bao's origin soul to uncover the secrets of the celestial realm's collapse. Seeing both the golden dragon and esteemed Xuan Bao devoured, he did not hesitate. Borrowing the serpent's suction force, he charged directly into its open mouth. Wudo Chan followed. As a member of the Zhuan Palace with close ties to esteemed Xuan Bao, he clenched his teeth and rushed in as well. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. He had been waiting for this moment. Thunder erupted from his body. With its speed, he shot toward the serpent. Master Flamespark hesitated briefly. Yimuzi's eyes, however, gleamed with intent. He too entered the serpent's mouth. By now, most of the Moongazer serpent's immense body had disappeared into the rift. Its mouth had already closed. It was about to vanish entirely. Wang Lin reached the serpent and landed upon its massive body. Stamping his foot, he prepared to enter. Master Flamespark saw him clearly. He sighed, no longer hesitating. Reaching into the void, he summoned a fist-sized celestial fragment and hurled it toward Wang Lin. You have rendered great service. This item will protect you. With it, I can locate you and save both you and Qing Shui. He chose not to enter. He still had to oversee the war between All Heaven and the Alliance. As for Wang Lin's intentions, he could only speculate. Perhaps this child harbors other thoughts. Catching the shrinking fragment, Wang Lin immediately sensed the aura of a thunderbeast. Within it was not only a powerful primary soul, but also the thunderbeast itself. Thank you, Senior. As he spoke, his figure vanished. He entered the Moongazer serpent. At that instant, the serpent fully sank into the vortex. Its immense size expanded the collapse even further, tearing space apart. Amid the roaring collapse, Master Flamespark let out a long sigh. He turned away, seeking out the scattered cultivators of All Heaven. After this battle, the northern battlefield had been nearly torn asunder. Across tens of thousands of kilometers, the land became a forbidden zone where none dared approach. At the very center, the vortex spun with terrifying speed. Vast quantities of dust were drawn toward it, only to vanish without a trace the moment they were swallowed within. There was no victor, no defeat. Between All Heaven and the Alliance, this clash had merely been a test, yet the cost of that test was unbearably heavy. The deaths of tens of thousands of cultivators forced both sides into silence. It was as though each faction had paused quietly, preparing for the next inevitable confrontation. On All Heaven's side, large numbers of cultivators withdrew, gathering between the western and northern regions to recuperate. The Alliance remained utterly still, yet news of the battle spread like wildfire throughout its ranks. On this day, a figure appeared beside the vortex. White-haired, clad in a yellow robe, he stood in the void. If Wang Lin were present, he would have recognized him at once, Huang Long. Huang Long floated calmly, his gaze fixed upon the vortex below. The immense suction force collapsed the moment it approached him, unable to come any closer. Though this probing battle appears to be a draw, in truth, the Alliance has lost, Huang Long murmured, eyes narrowing as he surveyed the ruined battlefield. In his mind, he could already reconstruct the intensity of what had transpired here. The Cultivation Alliance has always been arrogant. This war began because of the matter with Master Flamespark back then. Interesting. I did not expect that a casual act of assistance would grant my four divine sect such an opportunity. A faint light flickered in his eyes. After a long moment of observation, he stepped forward, walking into the void. This matter must be discussed with the other three. My four divine sect has waited far too long for this day. I only wonder, will the rank 9 cultivation planet behind the Alliance intervene? After all, they recognize only the Alliance. As he pondered, his figure gradually faded. I imagine the Corpse sect is considering the same question. The arrival of All Heaven has already shattered the balance within the Alliance. And there is also that Wang Lin. That child is promising. If he enters the battlefield, he could become a vanguard for my four divine sect. With Master Flamespark's cultivation, he should perceive the mark I left. Let it serve as a subtle declaration of my sect's stance toward All Heaven. Huang Long smiled faintly, vanishing into the starry expanse. This battle is not yet grand enough. Let it grow more intense. Let it consume even more of the Alliance's strength. My four divine sect has endured in silence for far too long. It is time for the power we have accumulated to erupt. Within the vortex lay another universe, a boundless world of darkness stretched endlessly. There was no light, no sound, no trace of spiritual energy, nor even a hint of origin energy. Life was nearly non-existent. This was the void beneath shattered space. No one knew why it existed. If space were layers of endless silk, then this was the darkness hidden beneath those layers. Long ago, powerful cultivators had attempted to uncover its origin. Yet across countless years, none succeeded in grasping its secret. Within this void, a cultivator's body would weaken without end. It was as though an invisible force constantly suppressed and sealed them, making survival itself a struggle. And because this place was completely isolated from the world's origin energy, even cultivators who possessed their own reserves would eventually exhaust them. Moreover, under the influence of this suppression, the amount they could wield was pitifully small. It was as if this place were forbidden to all cultivators. Within the alliance, only those of sufficient status and cultivation knew that, in ancient times before the collapse of the celestial realms, a heaven-shaking event had once occurred here, nearly causing the celestial realm itself to shatter. No one knew whether this void had an end. Even peak Nirvana Shatterer cultivators could not remain here for long. No matter how vast their reserves of origin energy depletion was inevitable, it resembled a natural formation that isolated origin energy, a completely sealed space that prevented any attempt to break through and explore further. But was it truly natural? No one could answer. Yet within the hearts of a few, a terrifying speculation lingered. They dared not pursue it for fear of the unimaginable catastrophe it might bring. That is, this void was not natural, but man-made. At this moment, even the colossal body of the moongazer serpent appeared insignificant within this endless darkness. After entering it coiled tightly, condensing all its strength to absorb and suppress any foreign presence within its body, it drifted without direction, aimless in the void. The mysterious force here seemed to have no effect on it. Inside the serpent, Wang Lin sat in silence. He still held the celestial fragment given to him by Master Flamespark. His divine sense swept across it, leaving behind his own imprint. At that instant, a roar erupted from within the fragment, and a bolt of thunder shot outward. The thunder spread before him, branching in all directions. From within it, the silver-horned thunderbeast emerged. Around its neck hung a chain. Numerous talismans were attached to its body, giving it a somewhat disheveled appearance. Even its silver horn bore a small, unnatural hole. Through it, an iron hoop had been forcibly inserted. Within the celestial fragment, aside from the primary soul, the thunderbeast had also been sealed. The moment it saw Wang Lin, its eyes grew misty. All the grievances it had endured over the years surged forth at once. It had been many years since Wang Lin last saw it. For a moment he did not know whether to laugh or sigh. The thunderbeast's current appearance was peculiar, to say the least. He stepped forward, studying the iron hoop embedded in its horn. Unable to resist, he reached out and touched it. This only deepened the thunderbeast's grievance. It let out a low, resentful roar. Wang Lin gave a wry smile. "These past years have been hard on you." The thunderbeast continued to growl as though trying to pour out all its suffering. Wang Lin rubbed his nose, then gently patted its head. "Actually, you look quite good." The words were meant as comfort. Yet the moment they were spoken, the thunderbeast fell silent. It turned its head abruptly, the chain around its neck clinking softly. The talismans on its body rustled as it stared at Wang Lin, doubt filling its gaze. Clearly it did not believe him. After all, it had heard the same words countless times from Master Flamespark. Wang Lin sighed inwardly. He truly did not know how to console it. Seeing its condition, he could not help but feel sympathy. He could only imagine the hardships it had endured. At the same time, its strength surprised him. It was far stronger than before. Faced with the thunderbeast's doubtful gaze, Wang Lin could only nod, reaffirming his sincerity. Yet the doubt did not fade. With another quiet sigh, Wang Lin tapped his storage bag. The celestial sword flew out, and with a flick of his finger, Shu Liguo emerged. Without needing instructions, Shu Liguo already understood the situation through his connection with Wang Lin. The moment he appeared, he reached out and fiddled with the iron hoop on the thunderbeast's horn. Then he burst into loud laughter. The thunderbeast immediately roared in fury. Lightning erupted across its body, especially around its silver horn, where thunder gathered in an instant before shooting towards Shu Liguo. Xu Liguo shrieked in terror and retreated rapidly. But the lightning was too fast. A trace of it struck him, causing his body to tremble. "Don't be impulsive. I just liked the hoop so much I couldn't help touching it," he cried hastily. Wang Lin's divine sense spread outward, observing the surroundings. He paid no further attention to Xu Liguo or the thunderbeast. After all, he had summoned Xu Liguo precisely because he himself did not know how to handle this situation. As for what words passed between Xu Liguo and the thunderbeast, no one knew. Yet after only a short exchange, the thunderbeast's expression softened. The suspicion in its eyes gradually faded. Before long, a hint of pride even appeared. It let out a roar, happily communicating with Xu Liguo. In the end, it even allowed Xu Liguo to sit upon its back. It no longer resisted, as Xu Liguo played with the iron hoop. Instead, it shook its body slightly as though deeply satisfied with its own appearance. When Wang Lin withdrew his divine sense and witnessed this, he could not help but feel a trace of admiration for Xu Liguo. Back when he obtained the black blade in the Suzaku tomb, Wang Lin had already noticed this peculiar talent of Xu Liguo's. Somehow Xu Liguo had managed to win over the blade, remaining inseparable from it for a long time. Now Xu Liguo stroked the iron hoop, pride swelling in his heart. In the end, it's still your Grandpa Xu who's superior. I subdued this fiend in an instant, he thought smugly. But as he pulled slightly too hard on the hoop, the thunderbeast roared again in anger. Xu Liguo quickly patted it gently, speaking a few more soothing words. The thunderbeast's eyes lit up. It shook its head, admiring itself. All traces of its former arrogance and indifference had completely vanished. Looking upon all of this, Wang Lin could only release a quiet sigh. He still remembered the thunderbeast's unyielding gaze, its arrogant roars that once shook the heavens and earth. Yet now, as he looked again, not a trace of that former majesty remained. If not for the faint connection he could still sense, knowing this thunderbeast had been formed from the war chariot, he would have believed it to be an entirely different creature. A hint of regret stirred within him. With a casual wave of his right hand, the thunderbeast transformed into a streak of light and returned to his bag. As for Xu Liguo, he hastily retreated, his face brimming with flattery as he spoke. "Master, it has been far too long since little Xu last came out. Please do not send me back so soon. I see no danger here. Why not allow me some freedom for a while?" Wang Lin glanced at him, his expression calm and unreadable. "This place is far more dangerous than you imagine. Return inside." With a simple wave, Xu Liguo was forcibly sent back. Though anger surged within him, he did not dare voice a single complaint. Instead, he cursed silently in his heart. On the surface, however, he showed not the slightest trace of dissatisfaction as he was sealed back into the bag. Wang Lin's figure flickered, weaving through the interior of the moon-gazer serpent. His divine sense enveloped his body as he moved with extreme caution. Yet his speed did not falter. After images trailed behind him like fleeting shadows. He was intimately familiar with the moon-gazer serpent. Without hesitation, he moved toward his destination. In the past, he would not have dared move so freely. Back then, countless smaller moon-gazer serpents filled this place. But now those creatures were all dead. The danger within had greatly diminished. As he advanced, Wang Lin's expression grew increasingly grim. From the moment the moon-gazer serpent passed through the vortex, he had sensed something amiss. Previously, though the origin energy here was scarce, it still existed. Now, however, he could not sense even a trace. This realization caused his heart to sink. If that alone were the issue, he would not have been overly concerned. But the truth was far worse. He could not only no longer sense origin energy outside, even the origin energy within his own body was slowly vanishing. Shock rippled through him. He immediately examined himself, only to discover that it was not truly disappearing. Instead, it was being suppressed by an invisible force. This suppression resembled a seal. Though it acted slowly, if he remained here long enough, it would eventually seal away all his origin energy completely. This has nothing to do with the moon-gazer serpent itself. It is tied to where the serpent now resides. If even within its body the suppression is this strong, then outside, my origin energy would vanish even faster. A sharp light flickered in Wang Lin's eyes. He clenched his right hand into a fist and threw a punch. A moment later, his eyes gleamed. The power of my ancient god body remains unaffected. With this, I may hold an advantage here. Deep in thought, he continued forward at full speed. This suppression, it resembles the talismans of the forsaken immortal clan. His eyes narrowed slightly as he carefully controlled the origin energy within his body. After some time, he arrived near the massive bone. With a single glance, his expression turned serious. The bone of the moon-gazer serpent had once emitted an abundance of spiritual energy. Now it was completely devoid of it. So, not only origin energy, but even spiritual energy is suppressed. Anything cultivators can absorb is sealed away. But I possess the body of an ancient god. To me, this changes nothing. A cold glint flashed through his eyes as he followed along the massive bone. If this place weakens cultivators so severely, then it will affect others just the same. The longer we remain here, the greater my advantage becomes. Clinging to the bone, he headed straight toward the location where he had once found the child ancient god. As he moved, a thunderous rumble echoed from ahead, accompanied by violent tremors. The entire space shook, as if the moon-gazer serpent itself had begun to stir. Wang Lin pressed forward, adhering to the flesh wall. The sound grew louder. Occasionally, shock waves from powerful spells rippled through the air, forcing him to halt. A trace of hesitation appeared on his face. After a brief pause, he slipped into the flesh wall at his side, moving like a fish through water. He circled around in a wide arc before cautiously advancing once more. His divine sense spread outward, carefully probing his surroundings. Suddenly it contracted. No longer extending into the flesh wall, it focused entirely on the space outside. After a single glance, Wang Lin retreated without hesitation, returning near the serpent's bone. His eyes gleamed as a thought formed in his mind. I cannot match any of those who entered, but I have my own advantage. The more origin energy they expend, the greater my opportunity becomes. The scene his divine sense had glimpsed was a vast open space, roughly 1,000 feet across. Though filled with moon-gazer serpents, all of them were retreating. At the center stood two figures. Wudo Chan's face was pale, his purple robe tattered. He appeared in a wretched state. Yet he stood firm, emanating a sharp, oppressive aura like a sword drawn from its sheath, allowing no one to approach. Behind him was an opening in the flesh wall. That was the entrance to the child ancient god's location. Opposite him stood Yi Muzi, clad in green. Though his face was also slightly pale, his gaze remained calm and steady. The space between them churned with the remnants of spell fluctuations. A fierce clash had clearly just taken place. Though Wang Lin's divine sense had only lingered for an instant, it did not escape their notice. Yet neither Wudo Chan nor Yi Muzi paid him any attention. Boy Yi Muzi spoke, his voice cold. Our origin energy here is limited. This old man has no interest in that worthless celestial. Why block my path instead of aiding Xuanbao against Qing Shui? Is this not utterly absurd? Wudo Chan offered no reply. He merely stared coldly at Yi Muzi. Raising his hand, a five-colored bubble hovered above his palm. His gaze settled upon it as he said calmly, I do not care about esteemed Xuanbao. But as long as I stand here, no one will pass. Yi Muzi's expression darkened. With a cold snort, he stepped forward. Forming a seal with his right hand, a massive log materialized before him, filling the entire space as it smashed forward. I cannot afford to waste origin energy here. This battle must end quickly. I must go deeper into the serpent and complete the task given by the head elder. The giant log surged forward. At that very moment, Wudo Chan waved his hand. The five-colored bubble shot out and collided with it. With a deafening explosion, the bubble shattered. The massive log trembled violently before disintegrating alongside it. A cold light flickered in Yi Muzi's eyes. With a flick of his sleeve, a small finger-sized piece of green wood shot forth. The instant it appeared, he shouted, "One log, one realm." The green wood trembled, then expanded instantly. A dense green mist spread across the area. As the mist filled the space, it isolated everything within, forming a domain of its own. A sealing force descended, enclosing Wudo-chan. Seizing the moment, Yi Muzi moved like lightning. He bypassed Wudo-chan, entirely rushing straight into the opening before vanishing from sight. Encased within the green mist, Wudo-chan remained still. Yet after only 3 breaths, explosions erupted from within. He was forming bubbles, then detonating them one by one. Each explosion tore apart portions of the green mist. After 3 breaths, it had completely dissipated. Wudo-chan glanced toward the opening Yi Muzi had entered. A faint smile appeared on his lips. With a single step, he followed. Meanwhile, Wang Lin sat down beside the serpent's bone. He patted his storage bag and a sword flew out. Forming a seal with his hands, he separated a strand of divine sense and infused it into the blade. With a point of his finger, the sword shot forward. His divine sense enveloped the sword as it advanced slowly. Without hesitation, it entered the opening and continued deeper. At this moment, my divine sense resides within the sword. Even if it is destroyed, it does not matter. Among these people, which one cannot shatter a star with a single step? Aside from senior brother Qing Shui, I am nothing more than an ant in their eyes. But they do not know. My ancient god power remains unaffected here. Let them exhaust themselves in battle. When their origin energy is nearly depleted, this ant may yet seize an opportunity. A sharp glint flashed in Wang Lin's eyes as he controlled the flying sword, deep in contemplation. The sword continued forward, slowly entering the depths. Violent fluctuations of spells surged ahead, making control difficult given his cultivation level. Fortunately, the suppressive force of this place worked in his favor, allowing him to barely maintain control. Before long, the sword emerged from the passage. What lay ahead was a vast vortex, slowly rotating, emitting an endless suction force. Wang Lin knew the child ancient god was within that vortex. No trace remained of Qing Shui, Yi Muzi, or the others. After a brief moment of thought, Wang Lin made his decision. Without hesitation, he drove the flying sword straight into the vortex. While guiding the flying sword, a single thought flickered through Wang Lin's mind. I must find a way to force these old monsters to consume their origin energy faster. And at the same time, leave myself a path of retreat. Without the slightest hesitation, he struck his storage bag. More than 10 flying swords shot out at once. All of them had been seized during the earlier battle. His hands formed seals in rapid succession, compressing strands of origin energy into each blade. Once detonated, each sword would unleash considerable destructive force. A cold glint flashed within Wang Lin's eyes. With a wave of his hand, the swords scattered, spreading outward. Like streaks of lightning, they pierced toward the moongazer serpent's vulnerable points locations only Wang Lin understood. In this way, I can trigger changes from within its body. Only Wang Lin could accomplish such a thing. No one else possessed sufficient knowledge of the moongazer serpent, much less an understanding of its hidden weaknesses to prepare such a contingency. As for the sword infused with his divine sense, when it neared the vortex, a surge of origin energy suddenly erupted outward. Wang Lin's expression shifted. Without hesitation, his divine sense withdrew from the sword, attempting to evade the surge. But the force was overwhelming like a raging flood. In an instant, it engulfed the blade. The tip of the sword collapsed inch by inch, the destruction spreading toward the hilt. Yet Wang Lin's divine sense reacted even faster, escaping the crumbling weapon just in time. Even so, it was brushed by the surging energy. A large portion of his divine sense dissipated. Wang Lin's face flushed red. He immediately sat beside the moongazer serpent's bone, taking time to recover. What terrifying origin energy! If it had not been expelled through the vortex, not even a trace of my divine sense would have survived. Coldness flickered again in his eyes. He understood clearly what he had just encountered was merely residual overflow. More importantly, the vortex itself possessed immense suction. It was part of the moongazer serpent's innate spell. Any force attempting to escape from within would be suppressed repeatedly by the vortex. Even if some origin energy managed to break through, it would already be greatly weakened. Wang Lin slapped his storage bag again and drew out another sword. His divine sense wrapped around it. The blade transformed into a ray of light and shot forward. Moments later, he reached the vortex once more. The sword hovered briefly. After confirming the absence of further fluctuations, it plunged inside. The powerful suction made entry effortless. Soon after, the flying sword emerged within the familiar tunnel. The instant it entered, a violent shockwave swept through the narrow passage. Its force was enough to shatter one's consciousness, as if intending to annihilate everything. Numerous tentacles lining the tunnel collapsed under the storm. Corpses disintegrated into dust, scattering into nothingness. The sword, carrying Wang Lin's divine sense, moved like a thorn clinging tightly to the flesh wall. At the precise moment a tentacle collapsed, revealing an opening, the sword slipped inside. Only in this way could it barely evade the devastating shockwave. Within the passage, two figures clashed. Spells flashed endlessly. It was Qing Shui and the Golden Dragon locked in battle. What had occurred before was unclear. Esteemed Xuanbao's origin soul was no longer within the Golden Dragon. Instead, it was entangled by 10 tentacles. Its eyes were shut, its aura frail. A vast amount of celestial origin energy was being siphoned away by the tentacles. They writhed and twisted far more violently than before. Any observer would be shaken by the sight. Farther away, bubbles surrounded Yi Muzi. Wudo Chan had caught up to him, and the two were locked in fierce combat. Yet upon seeing all this, Wang Lin frowned. The tunnel was only half its previous length. Its end was visible at a glance. The path leading to the ancient god-child was completely sealed. Silently, Wang Lin concealed himself, watching the battle with careful attention. The Golden Dragon roared, coiling protectively around esteemed Xuanbao. 5 yellow talismans circled tightly above its head. Opposite it stood Qing Shui, expression indifferent. His eyes flickered red, and from that crimson glow, bolts of red lightning burst forth. They shot directly toward the Golden Dragon. The dragon roared again. Its scales shimmered as an ancient aura erupted from its voice. Ruined metal. At the utterance, its body trembled. Hundreds of scales detached, gathering together. In the blink of an eye, they formed a golden scale sword. The sword radiated immense pressure, carrying the aura of a true dragon. It surged forward toward Qing Shui. Qing Shui's gaze remained cold. The red lightning thickened, becoming as wide as an arm, and collided with the golden sword. A thunderous explosion shook the interior of the moon-gazer serpent. A storm swept through the narrow tunnel, forcibly widening it. Cracks tore through the flesh walls and green blood dripped down. The Golden Dragon let out a pained roar. It was forced backward by the impact, yet it still coiled tightly around esteemed Xuanbao, protecting him. Its body began to fracture. Golden blood sprayed into the air. Qing Shui also retreated. At that moment, a deep roar echoed from within the serpent's body. It was the moon-gazer serpent itself. The tunnel trembled violently. A massive crack tore open above. Green blood gushed forth along with an endless sinister aura. The roar intensified as though something sought to break free from within. Qing Shui's eyes lit up. He halted his retreat and surged forward. His long hair billowed as his hands formed a seal. Slaughter realm. At his words, his hair spread outward. A crimson light appeared beneath his feet and rapidly expanded. This was a spell Qing Shui had created himself. The red light was dazzling. When it touched the Golden Dragon, it seemed to alter its very color. As Qing Shui advanced, countless soul fragments emerged from the red glow. Their number was beyond counting. This was the ultimate manifestation of his slaughter. The Golden Dragon roared. The 5 talismans above its head spun rapidly. From its mouth came another incantation. Ruined metal punishment, wood tribute, water poison, fire buried earth, 5 elemental reversal. The talismans halted mid-rotation. One by one, they descended, imprinting themselves onto its head like brands. A terrifying aura exploded from the dragon. Facing Qing Shui's approach, It opened its mouth and spat out 5 rays of light. As the elements reversed, they transformed into ruined metal punishment, wood-flowing tribute water, vanishing poison fire, and celestial burying earth. With the reversal, the surrounding space seemed to separate, forming an independent world. Even Yi Muzi and Wudo Chan, battling in the distance, retreated, their gazes drawn toward it. Coldness flickered in Qing Shui's eyes. The slaughter realm beneath him stirred. He raised his hand and pressed downward. Earth Prison. The 6 spells of Celestial Emperor Bai Fan formed Qing Shui's foundation. Yet his talent was extraordinary. From that foundation, he had created his own celestial arts rooted in the slaughter realm, opening a separate universe, turning Earth itself into a prison. Wherever it passed became a prison of the heart. No matter how powerful the spell, none could escape the concept of imprisonment. The moment Qing Shui pointed, a law manifested, prison law. In an instant, everything within range was sealed by an invisible force. Even the reversed 5 elements were trapped. Qing Shui moved like lightning. He appeared beside the golden dragon, reaching out to seize esteemed Xuanbao's origin soul. With a shake of his hand, the surrounding tentacles shattered. Green blood splashed everywhere. Esteemed Xuanbao's eyes snapped open, filled with terror. Yet no matter how he struggled, he could not escape Qing Shui's iron grip. Qing Shui turned to leave, but suddenly from the crack above a sinister aura surged forth. It formed into a blood-red arm that smashed directly into Qing Shui. Within that dense, evil aura was the unmistakable presence of the moon-gazer Serpent. The strike was too fast, carrying power capable of shattering all spells. It landed instantly. Qing Shui's body trembled. Even with his cultivation, he was blasted backward, coughing up blood. At the same moment, the arm seized esteemed Xuanbao's origin soul and dragged it away, retreating toward the crack. In that instant, the indifference in Qing Shui's eyes vanished. Madness surged forth. Esteemed Xuanbao was his only clue to the truth of the celestial realm. And now it was being taken from him. Even Bai Fan himself had never dared provoke Qing Shui. Instead, he had accepted him as a disciple, binding him through favor. Even the mysterious figure revered by Master Flamespark avoided angering him. But now, Qing Shui's fury erupted completely. Slaughter. Qing Shui roared, his voice tearing through the void as he surged forward, wreathed in a blazing red light. The Ji realm revolved around him in silence. His hands formed no seals, yet spells manifested around him as if born from instinct. Before him a thin line appeared. It resembled a strand of blood, narrow and sharp, as though it could slice through space itself. The moment Qing Shui advanced, the crimson line shot forward, chasing the retreating arm. Boom! A thunderous explosion shook the surroundings as Qing Shui closed in. He unleashed a relentless barrage of attacks. Endless rumbles echoed outward. Each strike of the red line caused the arm to tremble. Wang Lin inhaled sharply at the sight. His body, which had been seated beside the moon-gazer Serpent's bone, rose without hesitation. He stepped forward and charged ahead. Though I, Wang Lin, have never claimed to be righteous in my travels, I owe Qing Shui a debt. Now that he has fallen into madness, how can I stand by and do nothing? Qing Shui had clearly lost himself. His attacks came without pause, like a storm without end. The golden dragon's pupils contracted. Even Yi Muzi drew in a breath of shock. Only now did he understand why the clan's head elder had warned him never to provoke Qing Shui lightly. Wudo Chan's expression shifted as well, his gaze fixed on Qing Shui and especially on that crimson line. It stirred unease deep within him. At that moment, Qing Shui's right eye suddenly burst apart, exploding into blood and flesh. All of his Ji-realm power surged outward and struck the arm. The arm trembled violently. Its grip loosened. Esteemed Xuanbao's origin soul slipped free. The golden dragon, which had been observing coldly, immediately lunged forward. Its eyes gleamed with greed. Its massive body rushed toward esteemed Xuanbao, while its tail whipped fiercely toward Qing Shui. At the same time, the arm carrying the aura of the moon-gazer Serpent opened its palm again. This time it reached directly for Qing Shui. Qing Shui's right eye was a ruin of blood. His left eye burned crimson filled with madness. His right hand formed a seal and he pointed forward. In an instant, black wind howled. 8 black dragons roared into existence around him. Their power was second only to Bai Fan's Call the Wind, which summoned 9 dragons. Yet even 8 dragons possessed terrifying strength several times greater than 7. The 8 dragons roared as they surged toward esteemed Xuanbao's origin soul. They did not destroy it. Instead, they swept past it, causing it to nearly collapse. As they circled it, they sealed it layer by layer, forcing it into unconsciousness. Then they carried it toward the vortex at the entrance. At the precise moment the origin soul was blown toward the vortex, Wang Lin stepped in. He entered the vortex without hesitation. In one motion, he grabbed esteemed Xuanbao's origin soul and retreated at full speed. In a flash, he exited the vortex once more. Everything flowed seamlessly. Qing Shui's spell and Wang Lin's timing aligned perfectly without the slightest delay. As he withdrew, Wang Lin caught a glimpse of Qing Shui's left eye. Within that madness, there was a trace of trust. "Senior brother Qing Shui, I will not fail you." Wang Lin shot out of the vortex. He stored the origin soul into his bag, then turned instantly. Without pause, he opened his third eye. A red light spread outward, locking onto the vortex. That faint trace of source origin energy reappeared once more. The golden dragon roared and abruptly changed direction. Its speed was terrifying. In a single instant, it reached the vortex and plunged inside. The moment it entered, golden light clashed with the red glow from Wang Lin's third eye. The dragon was startled. Within that red light, there was a trace of power that could actually shake it. Though weak, it stirred something deep within its instincts. Its massive body paused, if only for a moment. When Wang Lin saw the dragon's head at such close range, his heart trembled. The pressure alone was suffocating. But the dragon had hesitated. That single moment was enough. Wang Lin immediately burrowed into the nearby flesh wall. His movements were swift and precise. He did not descend, he ascended. As he fled, his hands formed a seal. He sensed the preparations he had left behind. His expression turned dark, yet resolute. To the golden dragon, Wang Lin was nothing more than an ant. Yet this ant had dared to steal esteemed Xuanbao's origin soul right before it. This was an offense against heaven itself. To kill such an ant required no effort at all. As it pursued, it let out a furious roar. Roar. The sound carried origin energy of terrifying speed. It surged forward, causing the surrounding flesh walls to quake violently. Wang Lin's body trembled. Blood spilled from his mouth, yet he did not stop. Instead, he used that force to accelerate even further. "Explode!" Wang Lin shouted. As he advanced, his origin soul shook violently. Without his ancient god body, he would have been torn apart instantly. Even now the pain was unbearable. Yet he felt no fear. At his command, the flying swords he had hidden within the moon gazer serpent's sensitive points detonated simultaneously. The moon gazer serpent possessed several extremely sensitive areas. Though the explosions could not severely injure it, striking those points would bring unimaginable pain. Such pain would drive it into uncontrollable rage. Normally, finding those points within such a colossal being was nearly impossible. Even if struck by chance, the effect would be minimal. But Wang Lin was different. In that instant, every sensitive point was struck at once. The pain was no less than when it had previously been wounded. The moon gazer serpent's massive body drifted aimlessly through the void. But now it trembled violently. A maddened roar erupted from within. A heaven-shaking transformation began inside its body. Its movements generated immense pressure, as though the world itself had overturned. Roar! It roared again, even more furiously. Its body stretched outward. Its mouth opened wide. Its speed increased drastically, as if it intended to expel everything within it. A terrifying force surged from its mouth. At that moment, Wang Lin, who was fleeing and about to be caught, was suddenly enveloped by a powerful force. He did not resist. Instead, he was propelled upward at incredible speed. The flesh above him split open, forming a direct path to the serpent's mouth. The golden dragon was no exception. It too lost control, swept upward by the same force. Within the vortex, Qing Shui was still battling the arm when he too was dragged upward involuntarily. Yi Muzi and Wudo Chan could not escape either. They were caught in the surge and forced out through the crack. The moon-gazer serpent roared endlessly in the darkness. Boundless force surged outward. A flash of gold appeared. The golden dragon was the first to be expelled. Moments later, Wang Lin followed. Then Qing Shui, Yi Muzi, and Wudo Chan were all spat out into the void. The instant Wang Lin emerged, he sealed his own origin energy and celestial energy, attempting to delay their suppression. It was useless. He felt his origin energy rapidly dissipate. Layers of sealing force descended upon him. The same fate befell his celestial energy. Only the strength of his ancient god body remained untouched. Wang Lin's expression did not change. He retreated swiftly. He was not alone. The golden dragon, Yi Muzi, and the others all faced the same suppression. Yet they were prepared. Yi Muzi, pale-faced, was surrounded by 3 pieces of purple wood. Though he could not stop the dissipation, he could slow it. A faint invisible light flickered around the golden dragon, allowing it to resist slightly. However, it was clearly inferior to Yi Muzi's method. Wudo Chan appeared the most relaxed. A massive bubble surrounded him, isolating him from the environment. Yet it constantly weakened, requiring continuous replenishment. Qing Shui waved his hand using Earth Prison to forcibly resist the sealing force. But even he could not sustain it for long. In contrast, Wang Lin was the calmest. He ignored the loss of his energy entirely. He clenched his fist, stared at the golden dragon, and revealed a cold sneer. Yet he did not act. He continued to retreat. Now is not the time. I will wait, he thought. At that moment, the moon-gazer serpent roared once more. A vortex appeared between its eyes. A figure stepped out, Xianxia. His eyes were dim, flickering occasionally with struggle. Moments later, he roared and flew out from the vortex. Wang Lin's pupils contracted, then shone brightly. His heart began to race. With his ancient god body, he immediately sensed it. An aura of an ancient god, emanating from Xianxia. In his eyes, Xianxia was no longer human. He was formed from an ancient god star. More precisely, he had fused with one. He was no longer a celestial, nor a cultivator, nor an ancient god. He was something in between. Ancient god puppet spell. A memory surfaced from 2C's inheritance. A divine technique usable only by mature ancient gods. Xianxia contains an ancient god star. If I absorb him, I can inherit a portion of that power. A puppet fused with one star possessed the strength of a one-star ancient god. And Xianxia's star came from an 8-star ancient god. Xianxia let out a thunderous roar. His figure flickered and a sonic boom erupted. His speed defied imagination. Even teleportation could not rival it. As the explosion echoed, he had already appeared beside the golden dragon. His fist struck without hesitation. The golden dragon trembled violently and spat out blood. Its massive body was sent flying, utterly overwhelmed. At the very instant the dragon was blasted back, Xianxia vanished again. The bubble surrounding Wudo Chan shattered with a violent explosion. Wudo Chan's chest caved inward. A hollow hole appeared as though crushed by a devastating punch. Blood poured from his mouth, his ribs snapping one after another. Shock filled his eyes as he was thrown backward. But it did not end there. As the golden dragon and Wudo Chan were forced away, the 3 purple logs encircling Yi Muzi spun at high speed. Thunderous roars erupted from them, forming an almost airtight defense. Yet Xianxia was too fast. He found a gap between the rotating logs. His fist pierced through and struck Yi Muzi directly. Blood seeped from the corner of Yi Muzi's mouth. He staggered backward. Before Qing Shui ripples spread violently. His left eye shone with piercing brilliance. A powerful force surged toward him, forcing him to retreat. The more he retreated, the more intense the ripples became. In the next moment, the ripples surged to their peak. With a loud bang, Qing Shui's face turned pale. His retreat accelerated. All of this unfolded within a single breath. It was so fast that neither the naked eye nor divine sense could follow Xianxia's terrifying speed. Under the sealing power of the void, the origin energy within their bodies was suppressed. As Xianxian unleashed wave after wave of attacks, their cultivation levels rapidly declined. Wang Lin could not even glimpse Xianxian's shadow. He only felt a gust of wind rushing toward him, followed by an overwhelming force. Yet Wang Lin remained calm. At the moment that force closed in his body twisted. Guided by the instinct of his ancient god body, his left fist struck into the void. Bang! A heaven-shaking explosion erupted. Wang Lin was forced backward. His face paled, blood seeping from his lips. But in front of him, Xianxian was forced out of the void for the first time. He staggered back 2 steps. His gaze toward Wang Lin carried a strange, unreadable light. While retreating, Wang Lin shouted sharply, "He has no origin energy in his body. The seal does not restrict him. He specializes in physical combat. The senior's origin energy is dissipating. If we do not join forces and kill him, this will become extremely dangerous." Junior shut up. The golden dragon roared. Its body twisted. 5 talismans around it emitted an eerie glow. The aura of the 5 elements surged through its body. But instead of attacking Xianxian, it charged toward Wang Lin. The 5 elements rotated. With a furious roar, the golden dragon transformed into 5 streams of light shooting directly at Wang Lin. A cold glint flashed in Wang Lin's eyes. He knew he could not evade this spell. He stopped in place. Without hesitation, he took out Xuanbao's origin soul. He raised it ready to crush it. "If you take another step, I will destroy this origin soul." The 5-element aura halted instantly. Rage burned in the golden dragon's eyes. If not for his rapidly dissipating origin energy and the injuries inflicted by Xianxian, he would never have been forced into such a position. But now he could only endure in fury. In the distance, Xianxian revealed a strange smile and vanished once more. Yimuzi's expression changed. He retreated swiftly, but it was too late. Explosive sounds erupted around his body as though countless impacts were striking him. His spells were too slow. Before they could even be cast, they collapsed. What weighed on him even more was the void suppression. Every spell he used was greatly weakened. He could not unleash their full power. Otherwise, he would not have fallen into such a miserable state. The origin energy within him continued to dissipate faster and faster. His cultivation had already dropped from peak to the late stage of Nirvana cleanser. In that instant, Yimuzi abandoned all concern for loss. He spread his arms and roared, "One wood, one realm." One of the 3 purple logs collapsed into countless specks of light, forming its own domain. In an instant, the surrounding 50 kilometers were sealed. But Xianxian was faster. As the domain formed, he took a single step back and disappeared. "Enough! We must kill this Xianxian puppet first." Wudo Chan's expression darkened. His cultivation had also fallen significantly. He roared and stepped forward. Countless bubbles appeared around him. Under his control, one shot straight toward Yimuzi. Void annihilation. His hands formed a seal. He pointed forward. The single bubble split into 2. 2 became 4. They multiplied endlessly, surrounding the area. At that moment, one bubble suddenly collapsed. Wudo Chan's eyes lit up. His divine sense spread. All surrounding bubbles converged. Explode. A deafening blast resounded. At the same time, Yimuzi waved his sleeve. A 1,000-foot-long log materialized and shot forward. A terrifying impact swept across the battlefield. The golden dragon groaned and was blasted back yet again. Xianxian reappeared beside it completely unharmed. His fists descended relentlessly. As the dragon retreated, it roared in fury. Its body coiled its jaws opening wide to devour Xianxian. But the instant it opened its mouth, every tooth shattered. Xianxian laughed wildly as he retreated. His eyes gleamed. He spoke in a language none present understood, except Wang Lin. "Today none of you will leave. As he retreated, he vanished once more. Wang Lin remained calm. The moment Xianxia disappeared, Wang Lin's right fist struck to his side. Bang! Wang Lin was forced back, but Xianxia was also revealed. Qing Shui closed in immediately. His right hand formed a seal. Black wind surged forth, transforming into 8 roaring black dragons that charged forward. Xianxia smiled faintly. Before the dragons arrived, he had already disappeared again. But at that instant, Wang Lin's eyes shone with a mysterious light. The ancient god furnace appeared around him. He vanished. When he reappeared, it was exactly where Xianxia would retreat. The furnace still surrounded him. Wang Lin threw a punch. Xianxia turned instantly, his own fist colliding with Wang Lin's. Bang! Wang Lin coughed blood and was pushed back. Xianxia was also forced backward. At that moment, Qing Shui formed another seal. Countless raindrops appeared, converging rapidly. Xianxia sneered and attempted to vanish again. A cold light flashed in Wang Lin's eyes. "Senior brother, lend me celestial origin energy," he shouted. At the same time, he pointed forward and uttered a single word. "Stop." All of Wang Lin's remaining origin energy and celestial origin energy surged forth. It flowed through his right hand and into the void. Qing Shui did not hesitate. He waved his hand, sending half of his remaining celestial origin energy into Wang Lin. The energy surged violently through Wang Lin's body and erupted from his hand. For the first time, the stop spell was unleashed to its absolute limit. With a single word, "Stop!" Xianxia froze within the void. In the distance, Yi Muzi rushed forward. Though teleportation was sealed, his speed was still immense. Before arriving, his hands formed seals. The illusory log before him spun, rapidly shrinking until it became a wooden sword. The sword flashed like lightning. It pierced through Xianxia's head. Explosive sounds echoed as it tore through his entire body. Then, it exploded. Countless fragments filled with destructive force erupted within him. At the same time, Wudo Chan spat out a mouthful of origin energy. It transformed into countless bubbles surrounding Xianxia before detonating. The golden dragon also moved. Its hatred burned to its peak. With a furious roar, the 5 elements fused, forming an illusory crown. The crown descended instantly, crushing down upon Xianxia's head. 3 ancient monsters attacked at once. Xianxia roared, struggling to break free, but it was too late. Boom! The wooden sword, the bubbles, and the crown struck simultaneously. Xianxia's body collapsed. Flesh and blood scattered in all directions. For the first time in 1,000 years, a trace of greed appeared in Wang Lin's eyes. The ancient god furnace surrounded him. He rushed forward instantly toward the collapsing remains. In a flash, he bit his tongue and spat out a mouthful of ancient god blood. He inhaled madly. Inheritance of power. From within the shattered body, a fist-sized star emerged. It glowed softly. It radiated the power of an ancient god. As Wang Lin drew in a breath, the purple star trembled violently and rushed straight toward him. Just as it was about to be swallowed, the moon-gazer serpent suddenly released a deafening roar. In that instant, an ancient god's aura of terrifying magnitude erupted from its body. At the same moment, a strange gleam flashed within the eyes of Yi Muzi and Wudo Chan. Without hesitation, the two charged toward the purple star from different directions. Yet both had already expended a vast amount of origin energy in the previous battle. Their cultivation had fallen directly to the Nirvana Scrya stage. They moved swiftly, closing in from opposite sides. A trace of madness flickered within Wang Lin's gaze. As they approached, cracking sounds echoed from within his body. His figure expanded abruptly, growing larger in an instant, and he swallowed the star in one motion. The moment the star entered his body, an unimaginable force erupted within him. That power surged wildly, and Wang Lin retreated at once, as if unable to contain it. An aura surged both inside and outside his body. Strength filled every inch of him. It felt as though a single punch from him could shatter everything before his eyes. He laughed. As he retreated, his body underwent a drastic transformation. Explosive sounds rang out continuously. In the blink of an eye, he became a giant hundreds of feet tall. A terrifying aura flooded the void. Between his brows, the hidden ancient god star condensed. The previous 3.5 stars solidified into 4 complete stars. 4 true stars. A 4-star ancient god of royal blood, bearing the inheritance of 2C. This was far beyond an ordinary 4-star ancient god. The cracking within his body intensified further. His form continued to grow until he reached nearly 1,000 feet in height. A boundless aura spread outward in all directions. Yimuzi and Wudo Chan both shrank their pupils, staring in shock at Wang Lin. Wang Lin clenched his fist and laughed again. The sensation of controlling the world surged through him, filling him with absolute confidence. In the next moment, he turned abruptly. His massive body swept past Yimuzi and Wudo Chan without pause and charged directly toward the Golden Dragon, who stood there completely stunned. The Golden Dragon had already suffered multiple injuries and had used numerous spells. On top of that, a large portion of his origin energy had been sealed. The power he could display had dropped to the early stage of Nirvana Scrya. Seeing Wang Lin's 1,000-foot body rushing toward him, the Golden Dragon hurriedly shrank, transforming into a man clad in a dragon robe. He retreated rapidly, forming hand seals. The 5 talismans above his head spun wildly as he shouted, "Poison fire!" As his voice echoed, one of the talismans ignited. A green flame filled with deadly poison shot toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin's expression remained unchanged. At this moment, he was no longer a cultivator. He was an ancient god, one who had inherited both power and knowledge. A 4-star royal ancient god, though the power of his avatar remained sealed, and he could only rely on his ancient god body. That alone was sufficient to slay this golden dragon. The poisonous fire, lethal to cultivators, was utterly insignificant before an ancient god. As Wang Lin advanced, his enormous fist smashed forward. Boom! A sonic explosion erupted. The force of his punch created a violent gale. The moment the green fire approached, it was extinguished instantly. Green smoke billowed outward, only to be forced back toward the dragon-robed man. The man's expression changed drastically. His hands formed seals again as he shouted in rapid succession. Tribute water, ruined metal, punishment wood, buried earth. As his roar resounded, all 5 talismans above his head shone brightly and began to move without wind. In an instant, a vast blue sea appeared and surged toward Wang Lin with overwhelming force. This was tribute water. It carried the might of an army crashing forward with a thunderous roar. Yet it could not withstand the punch of a 4-star ancient god. The moment the sea collided, it collapsed into countless droplets, scattering and being driven back. Though it possessed the strength of an army, Wang Lin's punch was several times stronger. How could it not shatter? As the water disintegrated, a flash of golden light followed. A sword formed from dragon scales shot toward Wang Lin. His fist descended. With a loud bang, the dragon scale sword trembled violently. Cracks spread from its tip as if an invisible force was stripping away every scale. Immediately after, a massive black log followed. It exuded the scent of blood and contained countless celestial souls. Their mournful cries echoed as waves of ripples surged toward Wang Lin. Behind it, black soil gathered into a storm, forming a dark vortex that charged forward. Wang Lin remained indifferent. His right fist struck the punishment wood. The massive log split cleanly in 2, unable to slow him in the slightest. The black storm collapsed instantly as the log shattered. Nothing could halt the strike of a 4-star royal ancient god. After destroying all 5 elements, the punch landed directly upon the dragon-robed man. A heaven-shaking explosion erupted. The man coughed up blood and was sent flying backward. All of this occurred in a fleeting instant. From Yimuzi's perspective, Wang Lin had merely taken a step, thrown a punch, and sent the dragon-robed man flying. Cracking sounds echoed within the man's body as blood sprayed outward. Had this taken place outside with his cultivation unsealed, Wang Lin would have struggled to injure him. But here Wang Lin held every advantage. The dragon-robed man's cultivation was heavily suppressed. He could only retreat. Wang Lin's gaze remained cold as he advanced once more. His right leg lifted and kicked forward. The dragon-robed man's face turned pale. Reluctance filled his eyes as he formed another seal and shouted, "Power of the 5 elements." The 5 talismans spun rapidly. The aura of the 5 elements gathered, forming an illusory crown. That power surged toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin's eyes flickered. He reached forward. Despite his massive size, his storage bag remained with him. Though it appeared tiny, he could still open it. From within, a crown appeared in his hand. The moment it emerged, the dragon-robed man's expression changed drastically. Disbelief filled his face as he exclaimed, "The Dragon Saint's 5-element crown. How could you possess this? It even has a soul." Panic overtook him. He abandoned his attack and retreated at once. At the same time, he crushed a wooden token. The token turned into smoke, forming a passage within the void. He attempted to escape through it, but just as he moved to flee, the crown in Wang Lin's hand flew outward. As it spun, it radiated 5-colored light. A rose bloomed. From it, the shadow of a woman appeared. She was breathtakingly beautiful, her presence cold and arrogant. Without hesitation, she raised her jade-like hand and pointed toward the dragon-robed man. With that single gesture, he let out a miserable scream. His body froze, unable to escape. It was as if an invisible force dragged him back. In an instant, he transformed into a streak of light and was absorbed into the crown. The woman turned her gaze, lingering on Wang Lin. She opened her mouth as though to speak, yet no sound emerged. After a moment, she vanished. The scene stunned not only Yi Muzi and the others, it even left Wang Lin shaken. He quickly retrieved the crown. His gaze turned icy as he looked toward Yi Muzi and Wudo Chan. These two no longer posed any threat. Their cultivation was already heavily sealed, and it would only continue to weaken. Then Wang Lin's eyes shifted toward the moon-gazer serpent, which radiated an ancient god's aura. He opened his mouth and let out a roar. From his 1,000-foot body, the roar carried the might of an ancient god. It was no weaker than the serpent's own. The sound shook the heavens. Even the void seemed unable to contain it. Thunderous echoes spread endlessly. Sonic waves rippled outward in all directions. Within that roar, there was only one meaning spoken in the language of ancient gods: challenge. Every ancient god-child must challenge another of their kind to step into adulthood. Wang Lin, bearing 2C's inherited knowledge, understood this clearly. For the ancient god clan, advancing from 3 stars to 4 required the aura of an adult ancient god. Without it, progression was impossible. Once 4 stars were achieved, one gained the qualification for adulthood, and with it the right to challenge. Wang Lin's roar declared his intent. He was challenging the ancient god within the moon-gazer serpent. The moment his roar faded, a response emerged from within the serpent. The moon-gazer serpent opened its mouth. Countless tentacles extended outward. Within them, a figure was bound. The figure was human-sized, yet 5 blurred stars rotated upon his forehead. Entangled by the tentacles, he stared directly at Wang Lin. "My clansman, I accept your challenge for your passage into adulthood." As the 5-star ancient god spoke, the tentacles loosened one by one. He stepped forward. With the first step, his body expanded to 300 feet, and a powerful aura surged outward. With the second step, he grew to 1,000 feet, ancient energy enveloping the surroundings. With the third step, he reached 3,000 feet in height. He stood there like a god.